Councilwoman Amobian, whenever you're ready, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Clerk Viviano. I'd like to call the Rules Committee to order. We have previous minutes to be approved. If I could get a motion.
Motion to approve.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We have a piece from the regular agenda that's we've been discussing over the past few weeks in regard to the charter amendment. The intent is to take a vote on this today before we go on break. I'd like to give any of the committee or council members a chance to weigh in on this again before we conclude the committee. Do we have any committee members that have any comment or questions?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had somewhat of a difficult time coming to my decision, but after meeting with a member of the law department, I believe Nanette and Esther, a few ministers, and some, officers, I decided that I would support it because my big concern was if they had safeguards in place, okay? Because I used the analogy, Chief Harding?
Yes.
Is it Chief Harding? I like Chief Harding, he's a great guy. But I just wanted to know if he would just willy-nilly be able to appoint whoever he wanted to appoint. But I was encouraged to see that they did have safeguards in place that they would have to abide by. Another concern that I did have, I think the dynamics of the committee was not balanced, and I felt that they should have had someone that was skilled in, safety and so forth. So that was another concern that I had, and after viewing that and after really considering it, I just felt that we had to start somewhere, so I'm a yes on it. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilwoman. Any other committee members?
Yeah, I can't see anybody. I'm not sure why.
We're having some technical difficulties.
Oh, are you? Okay. I thought it was, I thought it was my lack of skill. Anyway, I came in as Councilwoman Davis was speaking. So I think I've spoken about this already, that I am in favor of this amendment. And as Councilwoman Davis said, I believe, because I did say that initially I was under the impression that the mayor had the wherewithal to do what needed to be done without changing this. But because of the ambiguity or the different interpretations, I said, okay, now that, he's interpreted one way, we are interpreted another way. This amendment would remove the ambiguity and would clear up things, I believe. And I don't know why people would think that we would not have an inclusive process, because this is very inclusive. Anyone that is eligible, anyone that meets the qualifications for the job, it would be just like any other job process that you go through. You go through the applicants, you look at what you're looking for. There's a job description, and then you interview those that you think represent the qualifications you're looking for, and extend the position to the person you think is the most qualified. And again, that includes individuals internally, externally. It's just a broader net we're casting. That's all. And if we have the person in our system who is qualified, that person would probably get the job. But again, it creates the opportunity for more diversity, which is what we are all striving for. So thank you for that, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Councilwoman. Any other committee members? Council members, Mr. Fusco.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I agree with my colleague in that we're all striving for more diversity in the leadership of our public safety forces, and we need to continue those discussions on how we get there. I believe that we have an abundance of talent within our safety forces. We invest significant funds in training. We invest significant funds in training not only to do the job, but for the leadership pieces as well. I would say let's get together and broaden that discussion and continue that discussion. We have 2 new chiefs, of which are very talented and we have a high degree of faith in. Let's let them perform, and let's go ahead and kind of go a little bit slower here and talk it out in terms of how we meet that the safety piece, and also because in terms of public safety, we have a steep hill in front of us with the amount of shootings in our city. But of course, obviously, one of the bigger goals as well is the diversity piece, and adding more voices to that, kind of slow rolling it and determining some positive steps that we can all agree upon, I think is a good path forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Lombardo?
The committee's done? Okay. Thank you, Councilman McKittrick. I know that the ordinance talks about, the hiring of both internal and external candidates. And, one could say that, doesn't mean we're going to go external, because we have, like Councilman Fusco said, plenty of talent internal. But to me, the fact of the matter is bringing this ordinance before us tells me the next time we're going to go external. That's what it speaks to me. And I'll go back on my comments last week that I believe that it's a slap in the face to our safety forces who we, feverishly recruit, both police and fire. And, we want them to come to us, to protect us. We will train you. But then to say, and grow with us, grow with our city. But then to say, well, but just not the top job, or one of the top jobs. I just don't agree with that. So I will be a no should this come out of committee. And, again, we appreciate our, police and fire, because their lives are on the line every day. And they should be rewarded for that, as time goes on, as the years go on. And their, promotional opportunities, I'm sure they know it. They got to do whatever training, take the test to be eligible, I suppose, for these promotions. And so, they should be rewarded for that. And we have, I'm not going to repeat what Councilman Fusco said, but that was awesome. We have the talent here. We have it right here. No need to look any further. I mean, where would this stop? Should we make an amendment to say, well, let's get a mayor from another city? No, we want somebody that's born and bred here in Akron or has been around the community for many years. So those are my comments today. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilman. Councilman Kamer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. Yeah, we have a new fire chief and a new police chief, and I would like for us just to give them the tools that they need, let them grab the steering wheel of their department, and let them move that forward for now. I would like to see, this put back, on the back burner. And maybe we can discuss this a few years down the road. I will say that I respect the mayor for bringing this piece in, but I also respect the mayor for reaching out to me by telephone to have a conversation about this, and I respect that, and have that opportunity to discuss this. But I just wanted to voice my opposition to this piece today during committee, because obviously this evening I will be absent from the vote. So I just want to go on record that I'm not in support of this. And if I had to vote this evening, if I was in attendance, I'd vote no. So I appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other council members have any comments or questions? We have, is there a motion from the committee?
I'd like to request an adverse report.
You want to turn your...
Request an adverse report?
We have a motion for an adverse report. Is there a second? No second. Okay, there is a motion and a second for adverse report. Would you mind doing a roll call, clerk?
Sure. McKittrick?
Aye.
Fusco? Aye. Amobian?
No.
Connor? And Davis? Okay. The motion for an adverse report passes 3-2.
Okay, we have an adverse report. We'll bring that before council this evening. And there is nothing else to come before the Rules Committee, and we will be adjourned. Thank you.
Our next committee of the day is the Public Service Committee. Those committee members are Kamer, McKittrick, DeShazier, Somerville, and Lombardo. We'll get started in just a moment here. Okay, again, we're ready for the Public Service Committee. Those committee members are Kamer, McKittrick, DeShazier, Somerville, and Lombardo. You have all committee members present whenever you're ready, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I'd like to move forward and call the public service meeting to order. We do have all committee members present, and we did hold a meeting last Monday, so I would like to get approval of those minutes, please.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
I have a motion and a second for the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, thank you. Looking on, we do have 3 new pieces in front of us today, and our first piece is an ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts without the formality of publicly advertising for bids with Xylem, Census, FlexNet for the automated meter reading system portion of the meter update project and declaring an emergency. And I see we have Mr. Lash with us today. Mr. Lash.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of council. This piece of legislation, I actually have brought my colleague, Darren, to expound upon that for you. So as you know, we've been progressing through the meters project for about 2.5 years now. This piece of legislation is to cover the support and maintenance of the actual equipment and system that reads the meters itself. So the base stations that were placed throughout the service district for the water department, as well as the software that reads and collects those reads and then passes those along to the billing system. So think of this as the brains for the meter reading system. And this is for the city of Akron to take ownership and support and maintenance, owner and governance of the system. So it's a natural part of the project. We're nearing the end. Hopefully in first quarter of 2025, the meters will be completed and the city will take complete ownership. This is just the natural progression for the city to take governance of this software and equipment.
All right, thank you for that presentation. Committee members, any questions? I see Councilman DeShazer.
What's the lifespan of those meters once they're actually implemented? I know that several of them have been out for a long time. They get banged up a little sometimes, and since they're electronic, I just wanted to kind of hear.
So the original AMR system that was installed, I believe, in 23 to 25 was when that was installed. Those had about a 20-year. These, depending on the type, we put a couple different types in. Some use a little more battery life than others, so it's 15 to 20 years, again, just depending on the meter itself.
All right, thank you. Councilman McKittrick?
No, no question, but just this has been a daunting task, and I appreciate everything that's been done with this because this is a tremendous upgrade to the system. It's been a long time needed. I've had some positive feedbacks from people throughout the city in regard to this. So just thanks for all the work on this.
All right, thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
With that, any other questions or comments? Oh, do you, Councilman Lombardo?
Yes, sorry. Thank you, Councilman Kamer. And I echo Councilman McKittrick's comments because I appreciate all the work, and this is going to be very beneficial for the city. And, you know, I don't know who sang it, McFadden and Whitehead, ain't no stopping us now, right? So.
We're over 50% now. So
Okay.
we're well on our way.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Appreciate that. Any other questions or comments from anyone? Obviously, this is our last meeting before we go on recess, so I'm sure you're in favor of possible suspension of the rules.
Absolutely.
Okay. Committee?
I'll make the motion to suspend the rules with a favorable report.
Second?
I have a motion and a second for suspension of the rules. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, thank you. We'll proceed with that this evening. Our second piece in front of us today is ordinance determining to proceed with the levying special assessments for the improvement of certain streets in the city between certain termini by providing street cleaning services and street lighting, approving the report of the Assessment Equalization Board and declaring an emergency. Mr. Lash.
Yes, Mr. Chair. At the April 29th meeting, this council passed a resolution of the necessity for street cleaning and street lighting. The assessor sent notices to the benefiting property owners, and there has been no increase to these rates since 2014. So I'm submitting all this to you, asking for a suspension of the rules.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. Committee members, any questions or comments for Mr. Lash? Any other council members online or in chambers? All right, committee, Mr. Lash would like suspension of the rules.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor, I have a motion and a second. All in favor of suspension of the rules?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, thank you. We'll present that this evening. Our third and final piece for public service is ordinance determining to proceed with the levying a special assessment for the improvement and maintenance of the off-street parking facilities in the Kenmore Business District and Canton Road Business District and declare an emergency. Mr. Lash.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. This is related to street parking facilities on Kenmore and Canton Road, Kenmore Boulevard and Canton Road. On April 29th, this council also passed a resolution for the necessity of upkeep and maintenance to off-street parking facilities. So there were no objections received by the property owners, and we're asking for a suspension of the rules for its passage.
All right, thank you. Committee members, any questions or comments? Council members? Councilman Boyce, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had a quick question relating to when the improvements are scheduled to happen.
Councilwoman Boyce, I do not have that date right now, but I can get that for you.
Do you know if it's this year or next? Yeah,
I would assume so, but let me get that for you before I concretely
appreciate it.
share that.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, appreciate that. All right, if there's no other questions or comments, obviously suspension of the rules is requested.
So move.
Second.
All in favor of suspension of the rules? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, well, thank you. We are adjourned, and my co-chair will be reporting these out this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We are adjourned.
Our next committee today is the Public Safety Committee. Those committee members are McKittrick, Kamer, Lombardo, Hannah, and Davis. You do have all committee members present whenever you're ready, Mr. Chair.
I'd like to call the Public Safety Committee to order. We do have previous minutes to approve. If I could get a motion?
Motion is to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We have one piece to come before Public Safety today. It's an ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts without the formality of publicly advertising for bids for the purchase of vehicles for the fire division and declaring an emergency. I see we have Chief Kaut here with us. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, committee members. Yes, so just a little background. In the past, the fire division has always used state of Ohio contracts and cooperative purchasing agreements as requested by the purchasing department to ensure that our purchases are getting the best prices and that they're competitively bid. We will continue to use those methods for the majority of our vehicle purchases. But some of our specialty vehicles that we need, the market has still been difficult to get large, heavy-duty trucks. And by the time we find them or order them, a lot of our orders have been canceled. And if we find them on a lot to go through the advertising for bids, they're gone before we can get them. So what this legislation will do for us is give us the flexibility and the ability to, if we find a specialty vehicle on a lot, we'll be able to enter into a contract in an efficient and quick manner to be able to secure that vehicle for the best use within the fire division. And although this would allow us to avoid bidding, we will still remain fiscally responsible as we always have in using the taxpayers' funds. And keep in mind that this is the budget that we are approved for every year. And as we can do our best to get the best price, it helps us to get additional vehicles every year. So this isn't a way to get around competitive bidding by any means. It just gives us the flexibility to, if we find a vehicle that is specific and right for us, we can enter into contract quickly for the better operational abilities of the fire service so we can continue to protect the citizens. At this point, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Chief. So I would assume these aren't like fire response vehicles per se, unless it's maybe a battalion vehicle or a chief's vehicle, or are these more like a large size pickup truck or something of that nature?
Yeah, these are the heavy-duty trucks. What we're looking at right now is we have two specialty teams. We have many specialty teams, but two in particular that need new vehicles. We have dive rescue vehicle and a technical rescue vehicle that are, one is 27 years old, one is 32 years old. And they keep getting pushed down the road as we have other priorities. Well, it's well past the time to make sure that those specialty vehicles are replaced so we can ensure that they can respond appropriately. Those vehicles are heavy-duty trucks, 450s, Ford 450s, 550s, with large boxes on them to be able to operate those specialty teams and the needs that they have.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I remember we've had over a period of time the same issues within the service for different vehicles throughout service as well. So I can appreciate the difficulties in finding these and then having to go through a process to try to secure them before somebody else buys them when you find them on the lots. Do we have Councilman Lombardo? Go right ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Two questions. So the first one, you said some of our orders have been canceled. So what did you mean by that?
Yeah, in the past, since COVID, the vehicle market has been very difficult to navigate with a lot of lead times, and a lot of the vendors that we've used have gone to, you have to order ahead of time. And sometimes if they don't get enough orders, we'll put an order in. If they don't get enough, they'll cancel that.
Oh.
So we've had
Canceled on their end.
vehicles that we've had purchase orders for before, and then the next year when they're supposed to come in, find out that, we're not going to order that, they didn't get enough orders. So if we can find a vehicle that fits our needs, we want to secure it as quickly as possible.
Okay. So then the second question is, because I didn't understand, you said if we can find a vehicle on lot or on a lot? Like
On a lot, a vehicle lot. Say right now, we're working with a local vehicle lot, a new car lot. They have a specific vehicle that fits perfectly for our dive rescue.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And if we don't secure that quickly, it may be gone. It's the only one they have. We haven't seen one like this in some time.
Okay. And then if we should get one from a lot, I'm sure it has to have some special fittings and special detail.
Absolutely. We also budget along with that. This gets us basically the vehicle in the box, and then we also budget for the tools and the equipment that go onto that vehicle. A lot of the tools and equipment we already have that are currently on our specialty vehicles will be transferred over, but there will be some things that we will purchase new.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Councilman. Any other committee members? Councilman Hanna, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. How much is the vehicles, how much are they per unit?
This one that we're looking at right now is about $90,000.
90?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so after you finish detailing it and transferring the equipment over, how much would that be?
We've budgeted $110,000 for this one. We're anticipating upwards of $20,000 for the outfitting of it and the additional equipment.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Thanks, Councilman. Councilwoman Amobian?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have two questions. Do you track your inventory by those that you have purchased through bidding and those that you have purchased through a non-bidding process?
Well, I can say that this would actually, in my time with the fire department, be the first vehicle we've purchased outside of bidding or state term or purchasing contracts. So we can start that, and this would be the first one.
So this is for a specific vehicle that you're looking at today.
This is actually for that specific vehicle, but it also opens up the ability. We have additional budget that we are also going to be looking for a technical rescue for our trot team. So we want to have the ability that if we find something that fits those needs, to also be able to secure that quickly.
I just have one other question, Mr. Chair. You talked about these two vehicles that you've had for 32 and 30 years or something. How many miles do you have on something like that?
Probably $100,000 or more, which is a credit to our fire maintenance facility to keep these vehicles up and running. And therein lies an issue that we want to make sure we tackle before, these get too old, and the repairs are continuing to mount to keep these running every year. So it does become a matter of making sure that these are only vehicles that respond to either a dive emergency or technical rescue emergency. So getting them in a new vehicle will ensure that we can have a response and that they don't break down, God forbid, during a run.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councilwoman. Any other questions or comments from any committee or council members? Since we will be breaking here and time seems to be of the essence, could we get a motion for suspension of the rules with a favorable report?
I'll make the motion to suspend the rules with a favorable report.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thanks, Chief. Appreciate all the information, and we'll report that out to council this evening.
Appreciate that. Thank you all for your support.
We have nothing further to come before public safety. We will be adjourned. Thank you.
Our next committee today will be the Budget and Finance Committee, and it will begin at 3 o'clock. Those committee members are Lombardo, Amobian, Fusco, Boys, and Somerville. Again, that's the Budget and Finance Committee, and it will begin at 3 o'clock. Thank you.